Hello, this is Archie Dunlop with Talking Astrology with Archie on Monday, July the 10th, 2023. Today, I'm going to keep it simple. I'm going to look at what's going on astrologically today. I'm going to do sign forecasts, for the 12 signs, and I'm going to do an I Ching reading. I wanted to talk about Mars in Virgo in detail in this video, but I've actually decided to put it in a separate video, so look out for that if you feel that I'm too brief, you want to know more about what it means for Mars to be in Virgo. And in that video I'll be looking at a number of charts of people with Mars in Virgo and people who might be influenced by Mars moving into Virgo. So let's start off by looking at today's astrology. Yeah, one of the reasons I wanted to be more focused is because actually there is a lot going on astrologically today. Now, the obvious thing to say is that Mars is moving into Virgo, and yes, I have a separate video on Mars moving into Virgo, but I want to look at Mars and Virgo moving into Virgo in terms of how it feels today, because Mars has been in Leo for a long time, and we've got used to it. Mars in Leo is quite focused on getting lots of attention. There have probably been people in our lives, particularly men, who have wanted attention, who wanted to be praised, all that kind of stuff that you'd expect with Mars in Leo. And I think a lot of us have been putting huge amounts of energy into being special. Hey, I've been trying to get this YouTube channel going. I don't know how special I really am, but that's my ego thinking I'm good enough to have my channel, but people should actually come to visit this channel. That's real Mars in Leo. I mean, perhaps I'm deluded. I probably am. So that's Mars in Leo, and then it changes. Like today, it's in Virgo. So what does that mean? Very different signs, Leo and Virgo. Virgo is more modest. It's more service oriented. And so today we are going to realize that if we want to get results, we are going to have to put in the work. Mars in Virgo is very into details and really getting into those details, sometimes in quite an obsessive way. So that's how we might feel about Mars being in Virgo. But it's not the only thing going on. Today there is a T-square. So what a T-square means in astrological jargon, it's when you've got two planets that are opposition each other, and then you've got a third planet that is making a square to each of these two planets that are opposition. So that's why we talk about a T. So let me show you what I mean. So there is Mercury. There's Mercury in Cancer, and you can see it's exactly opposition Pluto in Capricorn. So yeah, there's our opposition, and then there's the Moon. The Moon is at 25 Aries, but it's moving towards 29 Aries, where it would be square Venus, square Pluto. So if you just look at Venus, Pluto, and the Moon, you can perhaps, and you twist it round. In fact, let me declutter this chart. Let me just remove all of the planets except the ones that let's just remove everything except Mercury, Pluto, and the Moon, and see how that looks. we go. Oh, that took far too long. So you can, I've still got the part of fortune there and the nodes, but you can see that there's Mercury, there's Pluto, there's the moon, and there is the T-square. You know, they're opposition, there's Mercury and Pluto are opposition, and there's the square. So what does this actually mean? Well, Mercury and Pluto as an opposition is going to be about thinking and communicating and perhaps feeling overwhelmed by it all. You know, Mercury and Pluto can be quite silent because Pluto can bury things. Pluto can just finds the concept of communication rather difficult and just wants to keep it to itself. So we might feel this sort of tension, but we just can't communicate because what we want to communicate is so heavy, so emotionally charged that we don't want to take the risk. We might feel like that. But the moon is on the T, so the moon kind of provides the solution, and that solution is moon in Aries. Moon in Aries, is about being spontaneous, not thinking about it, just letting it happen. And so perhaps the solution is to just blurt it out, just say what's on your mind. Don't think about it, just feel it and just let it all come out. And the moon making that square to Mercury and Pluto, that can be the resolution to the issue. Now, Mercury and Pluto can be seen in another way, a very different way. And Mercury and Pluto is, as a pair, are sometimes associated with propaganda, manipulating the facts. Pluto is into power. Mercury is the facts, the details, and Mercury wants to kind of twist it, and Pluto wants to twist it round and perhaps provide a false narrative. So, look at the news today. See what people are talking about. See what kind of agenda politicians are trying to push. If you're into the news, go and listen to political speeches. Go and listen to politicians trying to justify their actions. And I'm not talking about any particular country. Whatever country, wherever country you happen to be, just look at the politicians, look at the people around you, look at the authority figures, look at how they are manipulating the news, because that could be how this Mercury-Pluto opposition is working, and it's going to be very subtle. And again, with the moon, people making rash, broad statements without giving the audience any opportunity to argue and think. They're saying, it is like this. Just don't worry about it. It's like this. You can go back to sleep. So that may be how this Mercury-Pluto opposition is working. And I should also point out that the North and South Node are tied up with the Mercury-Pluto opposition. In fact, you've got a grand cross. You can see this cross: Mercury, Pluto, South Node, North Node. I would see the North Node as being about contacts, the people we're dealing with, the people we're coming across. And so over the next few days, we may be coming across people who are propagandists, people in our immediate environment, perhaps at work, who are for some reason desperate to push some kind of agenda. And we have to be, I would have said, quite quite skeptical. We must not believe what we're told. That doesn't mean we're being told lies, but the facts most certainly have to be, they most certainly have to be checked. So yeah, I mean, I think this is let's put the planets back, having got rid of them all. There we go, there's our chart back. So that's perhaps the main theme for today. Okay, let's try to be optimistic. The moon is the moon at 25 Aries. This is set for New York. The moon at 25 Aries is trine Venus in Leo. So that is exciting. It's good for relationships. We can get on with people. It's not just romance, whatever the relationship, friendship, business, whatever. We can communicate in a very natural way, and perhaps in a fun way as well, because moon is in Aries, fire sign, Venus in Leo, fire sign, so there's plenty of fire there. So yeah, exciting contacts with other people, so that's good. However, I suppose I should go back to a sort of negative way of looking at it and point out that the moment Mars moves into Virgo, it starts making an opposition to Saturn. Now, this opposition to Saturn is not going to happen for a bit of time, over a week. But the moment that happens, it may be a first sense that things are getting a bit heavy, a first sense that people are capable of being nasty and destructive. So we have to watch that as that Mars-Saturn opposition gets closer. And I'll be talking about that Mars-Saturn opposition in the video I'm just about to make about Mars in Virgo in general. Now, as far as my forecasts for the 12 signs are concerned, here we go. This is for Monday, July the 10th, 2023. Aries, you're not your normal self, focusing on details rather than the big picture. Yet, as you sift through the paperwork, crunching facts and figures as well as garbage, it occurs to you that you are doing something worthwhile. Intense thoughts create a moment of crisis. You can then take the necessary action. Taurus, the people close to you have a particular way of doing things, and they don't want to interrupt their routine. Respect their way of being, but for your part, you can plan your creative exploits with amazing precision. At the same time, the moon aspects Venus, and this suggests progress on the relationship front. Gemini, you start to realize that grounding really matters, and you could find yourself putting huge amounts of energy into creating security for yourself. However, some of the steps needed to find security may require some risk-taking. How do you square the contradiction? More immediately, a Mercury-Pluto aspect makes you dangerously persuasive. Cancer, money and career are never far from your mind, and a Moon-Venus aspect allows you to harness your resources and at the same time get some help from other people. Yet, your ability to communicate may be hampered by high-intensity individuals who try to discount your viewpoint. Just remember that Cancerians include Elon Musk and Julius Caesar. Leo, so as I was going back to Cancer, try to use Elon Musk and Julius Caesar as your role models, when you're negotiating today's issues, problems, etc. Leo, You're challenged to move out of your comfort zone into an exciting world full of opportunity and adventure. And you now perhaps realize that you don't have to be assertive to get what you want. While all this is going on, you might want to consider your travel plans. There are places you need to go, provided you can minimize your carbon footprint. Virgo, Mars is moving into your star sign, where it makes a conjunction to Regulus, the royal star. You want action and also recognition. It is true that no one likes a bulldozer, but at the same time, you mustn't be shy. Tell the world about your aims and try not to bore them with details, even though in the final analysis the details do matter. Libra, you're in the spotlight, attractive and welcoming, and the world believes that you've got something to offer. And with Mercury opposition Pluto, across one of the main axes of your solar chart, your words can carry far and wide. But it's not the quantity of words that matters. It's about the emotional intensity that lies behind them. Scorpio, like yesterday, Mars, your ruler, is on Regulus, the royal star, and it's in Virgo rather than Leo. There is something about you that is very precise, and through carefully measured actions you can gain new supporters. So be like a laser beam and don't scatter your energies. Sometimes hard work in the wrong areas can diminish one's success. Sagittarius, a favourable aspect between the Moon and Venus has a direct impact on your star sign. You're the missing element, the person that can make things happen, and an event without a Sagittarian is an event which is doomed to fail. But those close to you are very persuasive, and what sounds like a good idea may actually be a recipe for disaster. Capricorn, people underestimate you at their peril. You don't seem powerful, but behind the scenes you're making things happen, and if you so wish, you can be quietly manipulative, implanting ideas that are difficult to resist. On a softer note, the Moon in Aries aspects Venus in Leo, meaning that all kinds of relationships can thrive. Aquarius, have another look at the financial situation. Things aren't quite as simple as they seem. On your part, it requires some application and effort. On a more short-term level, it's a good day for visits and long phone calls. There'll be a general feeling of harmony, and where there's common ground, there can be a common destiny. Pisces, Mars enters Virgo, your opposite sign. You cannot get on with everyone, and it won't take much to create major disagreements. So, in terms of relationships, it's probably a bad idea to experiment, particularly if there has been a recent conflict. But if you get the right kind of support, then routine and financial issues can become a lot less of a problem. So I'm now going to transition to the I Ching, and I threw the 3 coins asking what is Monday going to be like for visitors to my YouTube channel, and the first hexagram I got was enthusiasm. You know, it's a good hexagram, and as its name sounds, you know, we're optimistic and we believe we can make progress, and yeah, we're ready to really get things going. But enthusiasm has a suggestion of actually not seeing something through. You know, we're enthusiastic about something, you know, but so what? Enthusiasm on its own is actually a waste of time. You know how it is when you talk to people. We tell them about our ideas. They're enthusiastic. They seem enthusiastic, but do they help us? No. Does anything happen? No. So enthusiasm can be a recipe for stagnation. So what we need to do is we need to make absolutely sure that we get the moment right. The I Ching advises us to do this. You know, it says there is a moment when our enthusiasm can be turned into reality, but are we able to seize that moment? Because that moment is not going to last forever. Indeed, it might be like 2 seconds. 2 seconds when we have a chance to make contact with someone. 2 seconds when we have a chance to make the most of an opportunity. After that, it's gone. So get your timing right. Otherwise, enthusiasm is just going to be plain hot air. Now, this line moves, and if we can see it through, if we can make the contact, if we can start turning theory into reality, and if we can show some leadership, we'll get more and more support, and people will start buying into our ideas. And this takes us to the second hexagram. So enthusiasm transforms into modesty, and that kind of makes sense. I'm also thinking today's the day that Mars moves into Virgo. Mars in Virgo is a lot more modest than Mars in Leo. Mars in Leo is not modest at all. So modesty means, yes, we're enthusiastic about something, but we don't need to tell everyone. We don't need to tell everyone how wonderful our ideas are. No, that could just actually bring things to a halt. We just have to quietly get on with the job. Yeah, we've got enthusiastic about something. We've started to work on achieving it, and we just need to just go and do it. We've got people to help us, and then if we work away, eventually we will achieve the results we have been planning on. Anyway, that's all I'm going to say for today, and I will talk to you tomorrow.